My guest on the program is Rita Assen, the head of program development, quality, reporting, and training specialist at Search for Common Ground Nigeria. And today, she walks us through the challenges faced by women like her who are vibrant in the peace-building space in conflict-prone areas. Assen, welcome to Dateline Abuja.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here.
So let's talk about what female peace builders are and what Search for Common Ground is doing to promote them.
Okay, thank you very much for that question. Female peace builders are just like everybody that is in the peace building sector is a peace builder. So we do peace building. We go to communities to preach peace. Allow me to use the word preach peace. We engaged in promoting peaceful coexistence in the community. And Search for Common Ground is very particular about the involvement of women in peace building. We have several projects on peace building that we have targeted to women. Starting from 2011, we had a project called Niger Girls Unite, because usually most of the time people don't involve women, and particularly girls, the females. So in 2011, we did a project called Niger Youth Unite, where we brought about 22 females, Christians and Muslims, to teach them peace building, to teach them the relevance of it in the society. Because the female child voices are not always heard.
When you say peace building, what do you mean? If there's a communal clash, we just heard recently about the clash in Nasarawa State between the Gbagi and the Fulanis. If you're sending peace builders to that community, female peace builders, what do they do really?
Okay, so let me say this first, that we don't do peace building during crisis.
You do it afterwards?
We do it before or after.
Okay, so to prevent it, yes, and then afterwards.
Yeah, because we are not mandated to be in the field while conflict is going, because you have to be alive.
So what do they do when they get there?
So usually we work with community to build their capacity to engage, right? When I say build their capacity to engage, is to teach them how to respond to conflict in non-adversarial ways. Women are always at the receiving end. Whether you agree with me or not, that is the fact. You know, women need to be carried along. They know where it pinches the most.
What are the challenges with the work that you do?
So there are so many challenges. Like a woman, I'm married, I have kids, right? So my family are not here. I have to leave my family to be where I am because of my job, right? So, but this is an understanding I had with my husband, and this is why he's supporting me. But how many women out there can leave their family to come to face their career, you know, to grow in the career they want to? Most of the time, the challenges women face is the family home front. You hear, I've met women who told me that my husband asked me to choose between him, the marriage, or the career. Some will have to forfeit their career for their family, and some will say, well, I choose my career. I wouldn't want. So all of this, if we don't get the men's support, it doesn't help you to be you. It's like clipping your wings.
When you build the capacity of your female peace builders, do they come up with some of these issues?
Yes, they come up with some of these issues. In fact, there are some challenges around having the women to travel, right? Men, they don't want the women to leave their vicinity, to leave their environment, to come to another location, you know, for work. Let's say we have trainings that we have to house women to sleep over. We have had challenges where men will say, no way, my woman cannot sleep in the hotel. I have heard complaints about a lady, one of our participants, saying that when she was coming to the training venue, that was in the north, she said the bike she used to the hotel to come to the venue was saying that what is she doing as a Muslim woman? What is she doing in a hotel? So he's painted her as an loose woman, you know, not knowing that she's coming there for an activity. So all of these challenges. And then challenges of, you know, people in the community saying that women, when you're working in this sector, you'll lose, all of those challenges, you know, but the truth is that women are better peace builders, right? Because they don't sugarcoat the situation. They talk to the situation, and they have ways, you know, they use to transform the situation. I remember in one of my engagements in the community, I went to train some government officials and religious leaders. And when I came in, they introduced me as the facilitator, you know, this demeaning look, you know, why a woman, and with the caliber of people I'm with, you know. So it was, the person felt disgusted at my side that I was going to be facilitating, but I just told myself, you know why you're here, do what you know how to do, and I enjoy it. And at the end of the day, this person walked to me and said, in fact, openly, he said he has a confession to make, that when I came in, he was turned off, because why will a woman come and stand, you know, in front of him and train, yeah? But I saw it, I got the message, I didn't say anything, but he, at the end of the day, said, I give you your flower, you know, you nailed it. You showed me that it's not the look, but what is in you, and I appreciate you for the knowledge you have really enhanced in us. And he was happy about the whole thing. So there are challenges as a woman, things you want to, places you want to go, like in some of the locations where you work, women are not, you know, they will not be appreciated, like to talk to maybe paramount leaders, you know. You have to just be at the background, right? But it's not something that we demoralize us, right? We will keep doing what we know how to do best.
This conflict in local levels, and it's very instructive, what I've heard you say, because if we're going to get to the bottom of conflict, to see the impact of conflict, is important to get the locals, especially the women who are most affected by these conflicts, to be able to speak up and build their capacity to bridge the peace in the warring factions. Yes, you were going to say, in fact.
Yeah, you know, in some of the communities where we work with, you hear the men saying that in our culture, women don't speak where we're there, right? So what we had done in the past is to be able to separate the women and the men, because no matter how you try, women are not going to say anything. But the moment you separate them, you see them talking about issues affecting them directly as a result of the conflict, right? So, but as time goes on, we kept engaging and kept engaging. They started talking. Several instances, you know, that you keep working, you work, and then suddenly you hear that, those people they've started, you know, they've broken into violence. It's not automatic, right?
Which one stands out for you?
So we used to say, peace is a journey, take the first step with us, right? The thing about us is we're tenacious. No matter the challenges, we are tenacious. We don't give up. We don't give up.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was saying you should tell me one. You know how, like, in the course of your work, there'll be that one incident that you're like, that particular one was a big problem.
Okay, yeah, so without mentioning any community.
Okay, try.
This community we went to, it's about, it's a farming and community where you have farmers and herders. And then we went, we dialogued with this group of people, and then we left. So before we even go back the next day, they said that we don't agree with what we have agreed, or we want to, you know, want it changed. It was frustrating, you know, to have them. So
you had met with the farmers and the herders, and come up with some kind of peace agreement or something.
A kind of, our intention was to get them talking, right?
So they started talking.
Yeah, we don't just aim at peace agreement, but we want them to understand each other's perspective.
So after you met, after you guys met with these farmers and herders that were conflicting, you came up with some kind of arrangement of how things can move going forward.
Yes, how they can collaborate.
And then before you could leave, they told you that they don't agree with the collaboration.
Yeah, so what happened was that some other persons that were not there during the process instigated them. Why did you agree on this? We didn't agree on this. Why would you say this? And that was how, in fact, they almost started attacking each other. So we had to, it was like going back to zero. one step forward, 10 steps backward. But we kept on meeting them through intra dialogue, meeting them separately to prep them, right, to see how open they are to collaborate with their perceived adversaries. And we at the end of the day, we were able to achieve that because they agreed, they understood. The bottom line of everything is that they need to understand each other's perspective, because if I don't understand your perspective and put myself in your shoe, I wouldn't know how this conflict is affecting you. How is that
community faring now?
Yeah, in fact, in this community, they call our peace structure, they call them peace builders. They call them in Hausa Gwaninzaman Lafia, right? They're people who love peace, right? They create that environment for peace. So you see both the Christians and Muslims, the farmers and herders working together to resolve conflict. In fact, even before it reaches, it gets out of hand, you see, before it reaches to the community leader, you see them working together to resolve this problem.
And you're still doing this till today?
Yes, we'll continue till we find the common ground.
I want to thank you so much for being with us on Dateline Abuja. We've been celebrating women doing unpopular things, and I think this is one of those things.
Yeah,
it sounds pretty daunting, but I want to thank you for the sacrifice that you make, and good luck with all the work you have ahead of you.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Thank you for having me here. It's a pleasure.